Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody on the call on the Thursday night. As you know, we're just a couple of minutes after 8 o'clock because we've been outside clapping for the amazing NHS in the UK. So huge welcome from everybody around the globe. I know some of you have, but if you haven't, just type in where you're from in the chat box. We've got people from New Zealand, Turkey, Northern Ireland, Leeds, Cheltenham, Titchmarsh, London, all over the place. So a very huge warm welcome to everyone, and from Spain, Shropshire, Channel Islands, loads. So nearly 30 people on tonight's presentation. So we're going to start out with just a little bit introduction to myself. My name is Andy Clarke. I am at the wrong side of 50, so take that what you will. Got two grown-up children, Josh and Sydney. Sydney is also building her iBuumerang business, which is going to be shared with you today. So it's a business for people of all ages and all backgrounds. For myself, I was always an entrepreneur, had my first business when I was 19. But I grew the IT business I had to 35 people, 35 staff. And what that meant, I had leverage on the earnings, but I also had responsibility with loads of overheads and wages. What I really like, I sold that in 2008. What I really like about the iBuumerang business is its low overhead platform without those huge responsibilities, with choices of how much effort you put in each day. I consider it a bit like a gym, you know, you put a lot of work in, you get a beach body, and if you don't, you don't. So Holton Buggs actually is going to be introduced to you, and he is the CEO of this company. I had the great pleasure of meeting him with Tyler and Jody, who you may know or may not know. They are my sponsors. We all flew out to Paris to meet the CEO. And once I met him and listened to his vision, no selling, no product, I was all in. But I don't want to give the game away too much because we've got an incredible lady that's going to be presenting tonight. She was the very, very first person I spoke to, and I'm sure she didn't think she'd be where she is now. But she's a great presenter, a mum, lives in London, also an Airbnb host like myself. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our presenter tonight, Mrs. Debbie Cave. Over to you, Debbie.
Thank you very much, Andy, and thank you all so much for jumping on board tonight. I'm just going to quickly share my screen without further ado so we can get cracking with the presentation. Let me just go full screen mode and hopefully you can see that all. Andy, thumbs up, all looking good. Fantastic. Well, it's very exciting to see so many of you on the call tonight. As Andy has mentioned, I live in London. I joined up to iBuumerang literally just before Christmas and really got cracking with the business in January. So I haven't been involved in it that long. My background is very much in the corporate space. I worked for very many different ad agencies, marketing agencies, really in the sports marketing sector. I was head of marketing at Chelsea Football Club. And whilst, you know, I loved the excitement of it all when I was younger, I soon got quite fed up of the daily commute in London, you know, these long journeys that are just crowded. You can't imagine crowds at this moment in time, but I do remember it well. And I got made redundant in September 17. And at that point, I really made a conscious decision that I did not want to be working to line somebody else's pockets. I wanted some time freedom. My kids were still at an age where I wanted to be able to support them more than I had been doing previously. And I started looking at home-based businesses. I was introduced to a product-based business that I had a dabble in, and then through the journey there, met Andy and came to be where I am today. And I have to say, I could not be more excited to be involved in iBuumerang and really fired up to be sharing the vision with you guys tonight. So let me just say, one of the things I love about this business, as Andy just touched on, is the fact that we are growing business partners in so many different countries from so many different age demographics. And today, just especially, I think I must have spoken to about 7 people in as many countries. And that hasn't all happened in the same day. But I worked out that my business now, in 4 or 5 short months, spans about 12 countries. So there really is no limit to what you can achieve in this business apart from you. You know, it's there for the taking. So iBuumerang, what is it all about? So essentially, we are an online tech startup and a complete industry disruptor. Just think about how Amazon disrupted retail, Uber did to rideshare, Airbnb hotels. Andy and I are Airbnb hosts, and I have to say, you know, I love that business model. and Netflix to television. We are making very similar waves with the iBuumerang model. We're listed as not only the #1 tech business in our industry to watch, but the fastest growing out of 500 companies. And I do want to share that with you. This is 500 companies in the home-based business sector. And that is really a very, very big deal. We launched only a year ago, just over a year, March 17. And by the use of this similar AI technology to the companies that I've just mentioned, we've already got a customer database of more than Amazon and Facebook had collectively in their first 2 years of business. So guys, we are seriously breaking records out there. The business is also incredibly attractive in this day and age. We're all stuck at home. Home-based businesses are absolutely thriving. And the businesses that are really winning out there are ones with a very strong online presence. So, you know, in the same way that Amazon has absolutely, you know, completely smashed all their targets. I think last I heard they were 22 billion up since the beginning of the pandemic. And that's just because everybody's at home ordering everything online. So online is winning. So I'm going to tell you how you can get involved and what iBuumerang is all about. We always kick off with a disclaimer. The business is there for the taking. You get out of it what you put into it. So essentially, there are no guarantees. So we always use the gym analogy. Everybody, it's an even playing field. You walk into the gym with all the same equipment. You do, you put in the work, and you know, you build those biceps. You sit and chat on the phone and get distracted and natter with your friends, and you're not going to get very far too quickly. So it's time for network marketing to evolve. Now, I've mentioned the word network marketing. I know when I was first approached, it was instantly, oh my God, I've heard about that. What is that pyramid thing? Don't know anything about it. Very skeptical. I did my due diligence, and I can absolutely assure you that I would not risk my 30-year career in the corporate world on anything that was less than absolutely authentic and bona fide. And in fact, as we go through this presentation, you'll see that we're associated with a lot of big name hotels, airlines. They would have nothing to do with us if there was anything remotely dodgy. So just to reassure you, this is absolutely a very bona fide industry. And in fact, the world of network marketing is a huge industry, absolutely enormous. We are worth 22 billion, I believe. And so many big leaders in the corporate world are big advocates of network marketing. But it is time for it to evolve. You know, people think of Tupperware days, Tupperware parties. And that's exactly what I thought when I was first approached. And a lot of product-based businesses in this industry still operate a little bit that way. The products are fantastic. We're not knocking the way that we refer clients, because actually, essentially, we are referral marketing in the same way that, you know, you refer friends to a hairdresser's or a restaurant. That is all network marketing is, but we get paid for referring those customers along. So back to the chase, it's time for network marketing to evolve, because the companies that have not got on the technological ride and you know, invested in digital technology have very much got left behind. And that has been the case within our industry. And look at traditional businesses, you know, companies like Blockbuster and Thomas Cook and BlackBerry, so many businesses, Woolworths, they all went under because they did not get ahead of the curve. And actually, you know, the businesses that have completely thrived and have not been thrown at all by the pandemic that we find ourselves in, as I mentioned, are all the ones with a very strong online presence. So we are now bringing network marketing into the modern day era where we're offering a first-class consumer experience for our customers. And that is what it is all about, because if you give your customers a good experience, they will not forget you and they will come back. You know, look at the Ubers. At the touch of a button, there's a taxi at your door, a cab at your door. This is the sort of customer service that we are emulating and doing it incredibly well. And we're doing it very well because there is big success for us without having to sell. And I have to say, when Andy first approached me and said, look, this is a business where you do not have to sell, you know, my dabble with my previous company, so much time and in traditional businesses is spent, you know, sitting on the phone, upselling products, explaining the products, coaching your team. This is all done for you because of the artificial intelligence within our technology, which I'm going to explain in a moment. So to cut to the chase, we are taking network marketing from the taxi cab era, where invariably customers did pay more and only strong recruiters win. And we're taking that into the modern day era. And we are making money as our customers are saving money. And that again is genius. You know, most traditional businesses, you make your money when customers are spending money. We've come up with a business model whereby we're making money on services that our customers would be purchasing anyway. And that is what is very, very clever about the whole business. And obviously we've got the technology to help us succeed. So the brainchild of this business is this incredible visionary leader here, Mr. Halton Buggs, who's our CEO and chairman. Now, I have to confess, I had never heard of him when I first joined up, but I did a bit of a Google and was pretty impressed by what I read. This is a man who started out in the industry 30 years ago, earning less than $500 a month for the first 7 years. So he's incredibly tenacious, and he has learned a lot through trial and error, but he has gone on to develop an incredible formula to help achieve rapid success, not only for himself, but he has supported over 45 people within his organization to earn over $1 million. Now, this was in his previous organization, I may add, because between the years of 2009 and up until last year, he was earning regularly $1 million a month, and he is in the record books for earning 3.1 million in one single month. This is a guy that could have sat on his laurels and retired very happily. He always said, actually listening to his podcast, that he was never going to set up a business of his own, but an opportunity came his way. And obviously we are very glad that he did, because he's put all his experience to very good use, and his own personal investment. We are a privately owned company with no debt. And in March of last year, he founded iBuumerang. Now, he hasn't done this on his own, and our leadership team does warrant a little bit of explanation, because these two guys here, T. Gray and Edwin Haynes, were both serious players in the network marketing industry and left what they were doing. Such was their faith in Halton Buggs. Peter Hirsch has come on board. It was his idea to start growing our customer database through our association with travel. And he also has gone on to actually be our chief giving officer. And we have an incredible foundation, which I'll talk about later, where we do a lot of giving back. But it was his idea to put Halton together with David Manning and Laurie Spears of a company called Extreme Travel. Now, I know I can hear you saying, travel, for God's sake, we're all grounded. How the hell does that work? But actually, this was a genius idea. Extreme Travel, whilst iBuumerang is so new, Extreme Travel have been going for 20 years. So they have a booking engine that is, you know, absolutely, you know, regulated. It's very, very, it has a lot of certificates of excellence from hotel groups, from cruise chains. So these guys know what they're doing. And it was our association with David and Laurie on Extreme Travel that gave Halton the idea of how we could grow a database by growing our customer database for free. And I will explain how that works. So how essentially has he brought this vision to the world? And interestingly, it doesn't start necessarily with travel. It starts with our technology, and our technology is the PRIB. And the PRIB is a perpetual residual income builder. So for those that don't know what residual income is, this is quite a well-known term within our industry. This is money that you earn from doing the job once. Think Beyonce, think J.K. Rowling, think Tarantino, all these artists and creative authors, songwriters, film writers. They do the job once. Every time that book is bought, a song is aired, etc., they get paid royalties. And this is how we grow our business. This is how we get paid as well. Now, the PRIB is essentially our product. And how can you explain the PRIB? You can liken it to Amazon's, Apple's Siri, or Amazon's Alexa, and Google's Hey Google. This is the technology that does all the work for us. So if you think, just giving you an example, if you're, say, shopping away on Google, you're looking for cars or kitchen appliances or whatever it might be, and then you pop onto Facebook, all those ads suddenly pop up that you've just been looking at. And this is artificial intelligence at its best. And this is the same technology that we are using to help build our business. And how does that do that on a practical term? Well, I've mentioned artificial intelligence and data analytics. And obviously we've got the world-class people power of Holton and his team. You know, we have got someone who's been in the industry like Holton for 30 plus years. Imagine, you know, when Amazon set up, I don't know if you're aware, Jeff Bezos, when he set it up from his little garage next to his house, he started literally by selling books. And he started with books, not because he was really interested in growing people's, you know, literacy intelligence, but he soon realized that by the books that they bought, he got to understand their buying habits. What kind of people were they? Were they family men? Where did they go on holiday? What were their hobbies? And as his business grew, you're getting the picture, he then added on products that he knew his customers wanted. And nobody on Amazon gets upsold products that they don't want. You know, it's genius. I was buying something just the other day for my garden. And, you know, because it knew I was buying something for the garden, you bought this, would you like X, Y, and Z? And it was like, well, actually, yes, that would be really useful. So you don't get sold stuff you don't need. And this is exactly how this works for us. So in a practical way, when we bring in new customers, the Prib does all the upselling for us. It does our follow-ups. As we build our business and grow our teams, it helps with welcome orientation calls. We have endless training videos on there, little videos that just help get people started. It details all the events. And the most important thing with any business, and I'm sure there are a lot of business people on this call, retention is so important. And I can tell you, I'm very impressed by the technology that is, you know, it is offered to help me grow my business in 4-5 short months that I've been involved. So the Prib is doing all the work, what people have struggled to do for themselves in direct sales. And whilst the Prib is the front door to the iBuumerang model, we're coming back to travel now, iGo has proved to be the front door to the Prib. And the reason that we have used travel is because it is such an enormous industry. I'm just going to touch on the fact that it has helped us grow a database of over 500,000. I believe we're on 600,000 customers now. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, that is a huge number of customers to have on board in a very short space of time. Think of, you know, the reason that Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all these businesses have grown. They're so valuable because of the data that they hold, and they have encouraged people and grown their databases by offering free membership. And essentially that is what we're doing with iGo. So let me explain a little bit more how the travel fits into all of this. And I just would like to say, obviously we have been grounded. You know, when this all started, I was like, oh my God, how is this going to impact on our business? I have been gobsmacked, guys. We are 12% up month on month since the lockdown began. And whilst obviously we're very mindful of the fact that people can't travel, it hasn't stopped people wanting to join our VIP travel club. We know from history, SARS, Ebola, 9/11, these world disasters hit. We all think it's the end of the world. No one can go anywhere. It will bounce back. And we know actually as of this week, Spain, which is our big British holiday destination, is open for business with no quarantine for British people as of the 8th of July. So it has been, you know, it feels like a long time, but we will be back there. But travel is such an enormous industry, $8 trillion. And actually it is out of the 5 biggest industries globally, of which 3 of the 5 are pharmaceuticals, food, and oil and gas. Travel is bigger than those 3 put together. So we are talking something, I think it's like $70,000 a second, and that will only grow. But what I didn't realize, I have to say, when I was very first approached on this business, is that 97% of online bookings are monopolized by these guys, Booking Holdings and the Expedia Group. And all these companies that you fish around, bookings.com, holidays.com, whatever it might be, you think you're getting a deal, you spend hours shopping around, you're never going to find more of a saving than about 10, 12% from one to the other. And that's because they've got them all sewn up. And what we have achieved with our association with Extreme Travel, who are our booking engine, is they have secured behind the curtain wholesale prices for our customers, and they are able to offer us such a great discount because they pass on a lot of the commissions to us for helping them introduce the customers, and they don't keep so much of the commissions for themselves, whereas these guys are much greedier. So I will explain a few examples of how this works. So you can see for yourself, I'm doing the presentation from start to finish. We often break it up. So I'm quite mindful that it does go faster when one person does it. So I'm not going to go through these individually, but you can see very quickly, Expedia versus iGo, a saving in New York on this hotel of $161. Same goes for the Paris hotel, that's showing a much bigger saving. And the savings depend on what time of year it is, if it's, school holidays, same as usual booking sites. But the reality is, if you shop around and you do it in enough time, there are some terrific deals to be found. And you get my daughter used the platform to book her hotels when she was traveling around New Zealand and Australia earlier this year, before sadly she had to cut her trip short and come back. I've used it for hotels in the UK for conferences and actually got better prices than the hotel's own website. I'm talking Hilton Honors. You get a really good confirmation once you've booked, the same with any other booking platform. It tells you where you're going, a little map, the contact details. And the great thing also is that you get reward credits. So it's like getting, your Tesco reward points. Or your Boots points. The reward credits are terrific because you can then actually put them towards your next trip. So there's some examples of how the booking, the travel engine works. And just to also touch on the fact, we've talked about hotels and rental cars. You can book cruises on there. Flights are there. We do say it's just more for convenience. The margins are so small with airlines. They don't really offer very much discount on here. But again, it's worth booking them through this portal because you get those travel reward credits. Homes are like Airbnb, so there are a lot of properties on there at the moment. I was doing a tour of the homes today with one of my prospects. Weeks, basically, if you know when you want to travel, you pop your weeks in the destination and it comes up with all their best deals. Marketplace is kind of like eBay. You bid for your property where you want to stay, and timeshare owners can put their empty weeks up there as well. Now, this slide really shows how the PRIB goes to work, because you'll also see that we have a lot of additional lifestyle activities on here. And just for example, you had just arrived in Florida, you'd arrived in Miami airport, the PRIB would know that you were there and it would be upselling. Do you need any theme park tickets? Are you going up to Orlando? Do you want to go to Kennedy Space Center? Are you a golf player? This is how the PRIB is going to do that work for you. And we've got a little sneak preview here of Vibe Ride, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit more detail in a moment. But suffice to say, within 1 year of trading, we've already launched our second vertical in the rideshare sphere. And it's our own business called Vibe Ride. So again, you arrive, we're active in Florida as it stands. So you would say, do you need a cab? Then it would put you in touch with Vibe, who would give you an incentive to use their car. They would give you maybe a discount off the hotel you were staying in. So everything is talking to, each vertical is talking to the next. So how do you earn money from this business? I hear you ask yourselves. You can come on board in two different ways. You can come on free of charge as a customer, and that will give you access to this booking engine. You get up to 35% discount as a customer. And in this example here, on a trip to Cancun, I, as an ambassador, because I've invested in the business, would get up to 70% discount. So when you go into the engine, different trips, obviously there are different savings to be had. On this particular example, it's 41% for me as an ambassador. And as an ambassador, I basically am someone who champions the brand, and has my referrals monetized. And that's probably what we're all on here to hear about. They actually pay out, guys, in 7 different ways. And I'm not even going to begin to dig down because there is so much to tell you about the comp plan. But just in this example here, I would be saving $424 on this particular trip to Cancun. If I was going along with Andy, if he was just a customer, he would be paying $212. He wouldn't get the same savings as me, but he'd be jolly happy with that. It's a huge saving. He'd be paying $834 instead of over $1,000. But I would be very happy because I would be getting 50% of what he saved back to me as a hard cash bonus. So 50% of all your customer savings comes back to the referring ambassador. 35% is converted into commissionable volume, so that helps support your team, so your team get a little percentage of that as well, and then only 15% goes back to iBuumerang and Extreme Travel. So you see what I mean? They don't take a huge amount of profit because they are incentivizing us to grow their database. You know, data is gold, and that is what this business is all about. So think how that is going to grow. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 months. I've already got, I think I looked today, 141 customers. And it is so easy. It is simple. I'm going to tell you how to do that in a minute before I jump the gun. But imagine if those 140 customers, imagine 100 customers. If 100 of my customers start booking holidays later this year or next year, so I'm going to add a 0 to this. It's not 10 customers, it's 100 of my customers. And they're all saving, say on average, $600 on their trip. That would be a total annual saving between all 100 of them of $60,000, of which I get half, $30,000. This time next year, guys, I hope I'll be making this presentation and telling you I've got 1,000 customers and I've got 30,000 in my back office. But I've already had little bits and pieces from my daughter and a couple of other customers. And actually, I don't even know who some of them are, which is extraordinary. But again, I'll explain how that works. So it's all about leverage network marketing and building a team. So just again, start thinking about people you know who are like-minded, people who are at home thinking of how they can earn additional income streams over this time of lockdown or furloughing. You are going to find very quickly that you are not only growing your own team, but people are helping you grow that team. So this is based on an example of a team of 50. And again, I'm very happy to share my stats with you. I think I've only personally brought in, I don't know, under 20 people. And I've got a team of 160 or 170. And that's because we're all leveraging each other's efforts and it grows super fast. So with this example of 50 people, all with their 10 customers, 500 customers, this is another way that they pay out, guys. The second method, you get an override of the whole team's activity. So 500 customers, all saving on average $600 a year. That's a daily volume to you of $575. You get 10% of that and you gross it up. That's an additional $20,712 in your back office wallet. So you get the picture. Now we're coming back to Vibe Ride here. Why did Halton choose Vibe Ride? It is a massive industry ride share. And I just want you to see how that feeds into our PRIB. I've mentioned that iGo is the front door to the PRIB in the same way that books were to Amazon. But as with Amazon, all those products came on board, this is exactly how our business is going to grow. So I am gobsmacked that within a year of launching, Vibe is active. When I was told about it, I thought it was going to be something that would happen 2 or 3 years down the line. We are already live, I believe, in 8 US cities across 2 states. We're in Florida and Dallas currently, and it's being rolled out as we speak across the states, and we're very much hoping it's going to come to Europe by the beginning of next year, possibly even sooner. But Halton Bugs has already got people coming to him in addition to reach outs that he's doing to the likes of, we know he's talking to Shell and cinema tickets. And imagine, you know, he's going to these companies saying he's got this database of customers. And just another aside, we are on target, I believe, to hit 2 million customers by the end of this year. That's a huge amount of data, guys. You know, data is gold, and there are going to be people chewing off his right arm to be the next vertical. And we are going to be his silent salesman. Our customers are going to be upsold all these services. We do nothing. The Prib does it for us, and we get paid on the savings that they make as these come on board. But yes, rideshare is massive, 24.4 billion industry, and we've got 98 million rideshare passengers and currently growing. I would just like to touch on the fact that although the slides here say rideshare, we're actually more of a transport solutions company. And I do know, having listened to a few of the Vibe Ride podcasts, that we are involved very much more in sort of logistics. So it's not just people we're moving around in the same way that Amazon's doing so well, moving products. We've got drivers that are moving products, services and people. You know, there's a lot of, you know, lawyers, papers that need to be transported around. So again, the lockdown isn't hampering this at all. So how do we earn through Vibe Ride? Although it hasn't come to Europe yet, it's really important to understand how this works, because I've got people in my team. Well, Andy actually can tell his story at the end, how he was in Florida earlier this year and got a few Uber drivers massively engaged in this, because it's just a case of saying to them, you know, it's one thing earning when you're driving, but have you thought about a business model where you can earn when you refer your mates? When they drive, you can earn money. And this is exactly how this works. So you earn when you drive, not that I'm going to drive, but obviously I'm going to hopefully get a lot of drivers signed up to this when it comes to London. I will be earning when others drive, and also when I have customers that get into a Vibe Ride car. So 3 ways of earning. And just to give you a quick fare breakdown so you can see practically how that would work. With a $100 fare, 75% or $75 goes to the driver, and that's an incentive in itself, because I believe Uber drivers only get about 60%. 3%, or in this fare breakdown, $3 goes to me, the person who referred the driver. And in the same way with the iGo platform, that a percentage, 35% of your customers' activity goes to your team, 3% goes down into the drive pool, into the driver's team, or into my team. And again, it works the other way. If I've got a friend who I say, look, for God's sake, don't use Uber, these guys are much cheaper, you must give them a go. Every time my friend jumps into a Vibe Ride, I would be earning 3% of that fare. So you can see how residual income works. You know, if you've got drivers all over the world, you wake up in the morning and, oh my God, that guy must have been busy last night, you know, an extra $20 a week in your back office. I just want to also touch on our Boom Foundation. I mentioned it earlier on. It's a really big part of what Holton does is giving back. And actually, we have associations with 2 charities, Mana Relief and the Child Foundation, that help feed malnourished children in underdeveloped countries. And I believe we've already fed about 4.4 million. So every time you enroll a new customer, they make a pledge that an undernourished child will be fed. And that goes for Vibe Ride and also for the iGo platform. So, do you boomerang? Yes, I do. I boomerang. To boomerang, this is going to become as sort of systematic as saying, yes, I tweet. Yes, I Insta. It's going to be a word that we're very, very familiar with very soon. And they came up with this name because it's all about giving goodwill and metaphorically it coming back to you. So it is a great name. And how do we get customers involved? It literally is as simple as sending out a code. You guys can actually screen grab this or take a photo of this QR code. And you have a unique code, a number that is unique to your sign up. You send that out to your potential customer. They verify their code, they book a trip, or they register to Vibe, and every time they use it, you get paid. It is as simple as that. And here we go, there's the 4.4 million servings. And again, these slides are a couple of months old, so it'll be interesting to see what those figures are now. So back to how we earn money. We've already talked about 2 ways, well, actually 3 ways if we talk about the Vibe Ride. This is another way. This does look quite complicated. And again, I don't want to dig too deep on this call because it is long and there's a lot to take in. But most network marketing companies, you always get paid a fast start accelerator bonus when you introduce someone into the business. It's normally just for level 1, the person that you personally enroll. So if you join up tonight on first class, the person that invited you would get a $90 bonus. Business, $45, coach, $22.50. I'll explain what these mean in a moment. What is pretty special, and this is actually something that Halton brought in just after lockdown, is that he is paying out currently 7 levels deep. So if this is Andy here, I'm Andy's level 1, and if I brought somebody in from this call, I would get the $90, Andy would get $18, and if that person then brought somebody in, Andy would get $12, and so it goes on. This is very special, guys. It's something that does not happen within our industry. So I am now also going to tell you about the dual team bonus. This is kind of number 5 way of earning money. And this, I have to say, is what really excited me when I got going, especially when I found out, you know, how quickly this can grow when other people, you know, do the do and start working, putting themselves to work. As I mentioned earlier, start thinking about who thinks like you, who's entrepreneurial, who is visionary, who's going to see this vision. You know, we haven't joined this business for what it is today. It's still actually in beta test, if we're brutally honest. It's just over a year old. But imagine this in 2 years' time. You know, when you're on the call, when you're inviting people to the call in 2 years' time, it's going to be very different. And we are so close to the top of the tree at this juncture because it's so new. And that is very exciting. So here's me with a bit of a hair dye, which I need to do my roots anyway. Maybe I should try that color. When I joined up, I thought instantly about people like me who are up for earning some extra money. You know, I know quite a lot of single mums like me at home that kind of struggle with their salary that they're on. And I just would like to touch on the fact that I've got people on my team that do this 2 hours a day alongside full-time jobs. And they're actually often more successful with people than people with more time because, you know, if you've got to if you want to get a job done, give it to a busy person. But it is extraordinary how quickly this grows. So you bring in your 2 people, they bring in 2 people, they bring in 2 people, and so it grows. You get paid a commission of all that activity on your weaker leg. And again, I'm not going to dig too deep on this, but in this example here, you can see that out of a team commissionable volume of 5,000, I would get 20% of that, which is $1,000 back to me. And there is no limit on your, well, there is a limit on your earnings, and it stops at $250,000 a week. I think I can live with that. I've got a little way to go before I get to that stage, but I can assure you that one of my leaders, our absolute incredible mentor, which a lot of the people on this call are familiar with, a chap by the name of Johnny Wimbury, he has just hit the top rank in the business, and he only started when the business began and really ranked it up, I think, in November. And he's just, I think, been our first millionaire. So it is possible, guys. How do you get involved? Everybody has to join by coming in on standby, which is like a sort of initial registration. It gives you a position on this tree I've been talking about, and it just gives you a few boomerangs or the codes to get you started. However, you then really need to decide which class you want to come in on, because this is where the commissions get paid out. So I touched on it earlier. There are 3 price points to come in on. Coach, you have access to hotels, flights, and rental cars on your iGo booking engine. Business, they throw in cruises. First class, you have everything. I'm going to focus on first class because that's what I joined with, and I know that my mindset was such that I need to do what I expect other people to do. And I also knew if I spent the money, I would put my time and effort into it. But having had a little dabble in network marketing before, this figure here is what really made me jump straight in on first, because actually getting 15% of the dual team bonus, 15% is 50 more than this. So you're doing the same amount of work, whichever class you come in on. Why wouldn't you want to get paid the higher dual team bonus? So what is involved? $250 to come in on coach. You get 10 boomerangs. Now the boomerangs is another word for the codes that you send out. And just to say, guys, if people don't verify those codes, it's very clever. They do come back and you can use them again. And at the beginning of every month, you also get another 10 to use. So I have to say, I've never run out on First, but you would probably run out quite quickly on Coach, although you can buy them in your back office. The other thing to point out about Coach, although obviously it's much cheaper starting point, is you only get 50% of those travel saving bonuses. So when I said you get 50% of your customers' savings back to you in hard cash, you only get 25% on Coach. I hope that makes sense. Business and first class, you get the full 50% of your travel saving bonus. And the other thing really just to shout about is the fact that Halton, when, you know, most businesses were expecting the government to help, you know, bail them out, as soon as lockdown happened, he basically launched a $2 million acceleration plan. What did he call it? I keep wanting to call it our austerity bonuses, but he gave us additional bonuses, which I will say are still going till the end of May. You've got 3 days, and speak to the person who invited you to the call and specifically ask what those bonuses are, because if you bring in 2 people by the end of the weekend, you pretty well will have this investment squared off. He's also reduced first class entry point to $799. Now think about that, guys. It's a lot of money in one hit, but to start a new business, a global business, think of a traditional franchise, thousands of pounds setting up, rates, you know, employee costs, marketing costs. This does it all for you. You have got access to this presentation. I didn't do it. It's all sitting there in your back office, all the training videos. You get your own personal website. It is genius. And in addition to that, you do have to pay a monthly subscription to have access to everything that I've just mentioned. So $99.95 a month for most countries. There are a few, if you join on Coach, where it's $49.95. And again, speak to the person who asked you onto the call and they can elaborate on that. But this is the same price as a cup of coffee a day. It equates to about, I think, £79 a month. But to have access to all these tools from your back office that you have access to, you can send out the codes, you send out what we call the iDecides, which is the interactive presentation that gets people engaged. I'm sure you've probably received one by now. And that's also the vehicle that you sign up through. So it's all there for the taking. It's realistically a very cheap cost to start up your own global business. And we're in 180 countries. I didn't mention that. I did. I spoke to lots of different people today. I've got a team in Mauritius and Italy and Spain and France and Belgium and Holland. And I think that's it. Oh, and Australia, New Zealand and America. So it's just fantastic. Every morning I wake up, someone's brought someone new in, and I just love to know where they have come from. So you'll be very pleased to know that I have come to the end. It's quite unusual that we run through it just one person. So I'm going to take a big deep breath, stop sharing my screen and hand you back to Andy.
Wow, what a roller coaster presentation that was, Debbie. Absolutely fantastic.
But it wasn't that much shorter. I'm sorry. I was hoping that it would be shorter doing it myself. I hope I didn't go on too long.
No, rest your voice up. So, ladies and gentlemen on the call, thank you for joining us. Debbie wanted me to touch on the Vibe Ride, and I'm very conscious of time. We've got a couple of people that are going to share their experience as well. But I did meet some taxi drivers or Uber drivers in Florida, and when I spoke to them about Vibe, they're like, "What, you mean we can earn when we've got a day off with our family?" I'm like, "Yes." They said, "Right, where's the details?" Email and phone number they gave to me with open arms. So anyway, without further ado, we've got a couple of people on the call that I'd like to call up. They're just going to give you a very quick share about their experience with iBuumerang since they've joined. And a huge thank you to Debbie again. So could Rob, I believe you're going to give us a testimonial tonight. Rob, could you unmute your microphone and just keep it brief for us? Share your experience. You're up. Oh, you did unmute. Off you go. There you go.
There we go. Get there in the end. I think I was doing it and you were doing it and I couldn't do it or whatever.
Oh, no, anyway. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. Go on. Up there.
Okay, guys. A little bit about me, just very, very briefly. I used to be in the army and I've had 3 different businesses. When I first got introduced to this, I must admit, I didn't get a presentation like this. I just saw the vision for what it was. Obviously, did a little bit of research and I've been all in ever since the 11th of December. You've heard all about this. I'm so excited for the future where this is going. I've actually used the platform now 11 times, 2 of which have been flights. Yes, they're not guaranteed. I had not too bad of a deal on those. £10 was cheaper on our site one, and the other one was actually £20 dearer, but reward credits paid the way for that. So it's so simple to do as well. But I've actually had 9 hotels on here and saved £1,268. So obviously that's English, but that was in Thailand, Vietnam, and America and England. So yeah, it's absolutely incredible and I absolutely love it. Cheers, guys.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rob. And what I like about Rob is his passion for it, and actually he's used the platform. I've used the platform a couple of times, but Rob's got such great experience with the platform, and great to be working with you, Rob. Next up, we have Lucy. Lucy is a lovely young lady from London. And Lucy's going to share her experience with iBuumerang with you all as well. Lucy, are you there, Lucy? Where are you? Oh, where's Lucy gone? Yep, there you are.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me? Yeah, sweet. Hi, everybody. I see we've got people from New Zealand on. How exciting. So, yeah, my name's Lucy. I'm 32 years old. And you guys, I am the epitome of working long hours with 0 time, and that was the exact reason why I looked at working online. Is actually I wasn't looking for a wealth strategy. I was looking to create time freedom for myself, right? I've been very successful in my corporate career. I'm fortunate to have different investments in different things. I'm a smart girl. I know how to work hard. But I was approaching my 30s and I suddenly went, hang on a minute, every year my paycheck is controlled by my boss. If I want to have a family one day, I need to create some kind of, strategy to give me that freedom, which I just wasn't able to have. So I was very skeptical of network marketing. I would say it took me about 9 years, like watching other people succeed. And then this awesome thing called social media came along. And I realized it wasn't just for the young kids, and really got involved. And I've been building my business now for 6 months. And I've made substantial wealth on the side. I mean, more than fun tokens. I have managed to build quite a good team and make like really awesome money just on about an hour a day. So I always feel a bit embarrassed saying that part, but I think that's what we're all here for. You want to know if there's real money involved? Like, you guys, this is where it's at. So thank you so much for letting me share, and don't let time or lack of personal self-worth stop you from getting started, because busy people are awesome at this. They're really, really good at this business.
Okay, thanks, Lucy. And that's absolutely right. You know, time, and you believe in yourself. We work with a great team that support each other, which is great. So if you've watched this presentation, you think, yep, I'm all in, please go back to the person that introduced this call with their number 1, message them back and let them know that you want to know how to get on board. If you've got a few questions, message them back with a number 2, which means I've got some more questions. I really like what I want to see, but a couple more things to cover off before I jump on board. And if you're number 3, great presentation. Business is not for me, but I'd really love to be a customer. Just get back to the person who's seen something in you to invite you to this call and presentation tonight. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up there. Say good night, enjoy your evening, stay safe. And yeah, thank you very much.
I'm just going to say, before Tyler cuts the call, I just want to do a big up to my best buddy, Beverly Price. Within our business, we have various promotions, and she hit the 4th level. She got promoted every single month, and she went Sapphire today. So woohoo! Anyway, everyone's muted, so you can't hear the applause. Hurrah!
You can hear mine.
So proud of you, buddy. But yeah, hard work pays off. Got such a great team here. Hope to see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.